Hey guys, I'm TMWF1 and today I just wanted to walk and talk because I feel like there should be like some semblance of, facial content and stuff, but I just wanted to go on a little bit of a walk and talk about the problem that is Red Bull. Now, as you might have guessed by some of my other videos, I don't like Red Bull that much. I respect them as a team and what they've done. I like Max Verstappen, which you wouldn't have caught me saying 3 years ago, but he's a very good driver and he's very funny, so I respect and like him. But what I have a problem with about Red Bull is probably the management. Now, you may call me a bit of like, I don't know, a hypocrite because, oh, they've won so much and stuff, and like, look at what they've achieved in the last couple of years, and even in the 2013 Vettel era, or like 2010s, early 2010s, what they achieved. But I find a huge problem with their management. Now, many people may agree with me, many people may disagree with me, but their management is probably like the weirdest thing that I've seen. And this isn't just a reactionary post to Tsunoda getting the Red Bull seat, but it's kind of a thing that I've been thinking about for a long time, and I thought I should probably talk about it. So yeah, let's get into it. As we all know, Yuki Tsunoda will be a Red Bull driver for the rest of 2025, as he is stepping in for Liam Lawson for the Japanese Grand Prix. So this means that Tsunoda would have had around 4 teammates in 3 years. Same with Max Verstappen, 3 teammates in the space of like 4 races actually. So I feel like what Red Bull are trying to do, and what they keep failing at doing, is replicating the Max Verstappen phenomena, or the Sebastian Vettel phenomena, or even the Daniel Ricciardo phenomena, because every single year or so, or maybe 2-3 years, because they've had Sergio Perez since 2021, which is a bit of a gap in their tomfoolery, but ever since maybe 2019, since Daniel Ricciardo left, they've tried to replicate creating a new Max Verstappen, bringing in a really young, like a youngster from F2 or Formula Renault or Formula 3 even, bringing them into Red Bull, seeing how they do, and then seeing if they can move up to the team, to the main team. And more often than not, there have been drivers that have moved up to the main team. And what I find an issue with is the fact that they really don't give these drivers like a chance to develop. So for example, Pierre Gasly, he only got a year in the Toro Rosso before getting moved up to Red Bull. And to be fair, that is circumstantial because obviously Daniel Ricciardo left, they needed a replacement, and definitely Gasly had done pretty good that season. He got a P6 in Hungary and a P4 in Bahrain. So it's not to say that this wasn't unfounded, that's low-key fair enough. But then they dropped him within 12 races. And I don't understand that. I really didn't understand that when I first saw it, because yes, he was below Max's like par of teammate, but he was still getting points. His average finish, I think, was like P6. He got a P4 at the British Grand Prix. So it wasn't as if he was complete like crap. So I really just didn't understand why he was dropped. And then they brought up Alex Albon. Alex Albon did a pretty good job in 2019, actually, nearly getting a podium at Brazil before, Lewis Hamilton. I think on his at Japan, he must have qualified with the exact same time as Max Verstappen, but he said it later, so he was behind him. But he was pretty much on par with Max. Well, not on par, but like close enough to Max where it could be like a 1-2 driver dynamic, where he was close enough to pick up the points if anything went wrong for Max. And so that's what we thought would just be Verstappen Albon for 2020 and beyond, and it would be good. And then Alex Albon fell off a cliff in 2020. He had a stinker, to be honest. Just kind of P8, P9 average finishing, sometimes P5, sometimes P4, where the Red Bull should be, up there consistently, but he wasn't. And Sergio Perez was in the form of his life in 2020. Obviously with the Racing Point still being a good car, but Perez pushing it up to the third fastest car, or where it should be, with his podium in Turkey and then his win in Bahrain. So Perez had been on pace that entire season, and it looked like he was going to be out of the seat in 2021 because of Vettel moving to what would be Aston Martin. So when Red Bull picked up Sergio Perez in place of Albon, I did feel a little bit sorry for Albon, but it made sense. Perez was in the form of his life. He seemed to be a good driver for Red Bull. And in 2021, he low-key backed that up. Yes, he wasn't as fast as Max, but hardly anyone is as fast as Max, A. And B, he's still put in a shift for Red Bull in that season. His 2021 win at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, 6 races in, his defense against Lewis Hamilton at Turkey, his defense against Lewis Hamilton at Abu Dhabi, which literally won Verstappen the championship, cannot be understated. So it was all looking good for Max Verstappen, Sergio Perez. In 2022, it did kind of falter just a little bit. It's just a tad, but he was still up there. And then in 2023, we all know what happened. He fell off the face of the earth. Perez, 2024 got worse. And then Red Bull had to make a decision to either keep him for 2025 and run out his contract, or he had to drop him. And granted, I know this is probably like it would have been a really difficult decision for Christian Horner or Helmut Marko, whichever one does shit, to make. But at the same time, I understand why they did what they did. I understand why he was dropped. So they decided, I say I understand why he was dropped, but I don't understand why he was replaced with Liam Lawson. So Perez was dropped, and I initially thought that, okay, Tsunoda would just, it would be very logical for the more experienced, faster driver of 2024, Tsunoda, to get the seat. And I was like, okay, that's fine. That's perfectly fine, that makes sense. And then they called up Liam Lawson, who had only done 7 races in F1 thus far. And was losing to, I think, what was it? 4-2 in race head-to-head to Tsunoda, and he was out-qualified point blank 6-0. So that decision just didn't make sense to me at all. I thought Tsunoda got robbed, many people did, but I also understood why Red Bull kind of made the decision. I don't think it was the right decision, but I get why, because they were like, oh, we need to evaluate. It's the same with Gasly and Albon. They could have brought up Kvyat. They probably should have brought up Kvyat, but they decided to take a gamble on Albon because they wanted to evaluate him as a Red Bull driver. And they ended up making the right decision because Albon was way quicker. But at the same time, this one didn't sit right to me. It just didn't. I just thought that it's putting a lot of pressure on him, and it could mess up. Not everyone can be like just on it like that, and that's where I think Red Bull go wrong. But I still had hopes for him. I still thought that he could maybe possibly pull something out of the bag. And then Australia came around, and all those thoughts were immediately nullified. 18th in qualifying, crashed in the race. It just wasn't great. It was like Perez became worse. So it looked obviously bad, but then I thought, maybe he could do something at China. Maybe he could somehow bring it back, maybe salvage himself like a couple points. A P9 or P8 would have been all right at this stage because he's still getting used to the car. Nope. He qualified last in both qualifyings, finished 14th in the sprint, and then finished 12th in the race with 3 DQs and a DNF. And yeah, enough said, honestly. It was not the greatest start. But at the same time, Red Bull only have themselves to blame for this, because honestly, they made a decision of bringing a driver with how much race starts? Because he did 4 in 2023, and then around 10 race starts, basically. Around 10 race starts, they put that guy who hasn't had a full season in F1 in a Red Bull, and I really don't I really don't get it. Like, I think that was probably the dumbest decision someone could make. So they only have themselves to blame for that, honestly. And yeah, I expected Red Bull to give him, you know, a bit more time, give him until probably Bahrain, purely because the next race, the Japanese Grand Prix, Tsunoda's had many experience in, with Super Formula. He was quick in Super Formula as well there, and with F1, who he beat his teammate Tsunoda in 2024. So initially I thought, cool, they'll just give him until Japan or give him until Bahrain to really evaluate him in a car on a track that he knows. But no, Red Bull decided to drop him in favor of Tsunoda after 2 races, which is the shortest time Red Bull dropped a driver, because they dropped Robert Dornbos after 3. And when I saw this, I was like, so basically you've just destroyed a driver's career because you decided to put him in a Red Bull way too early, and then you brought up the guy who you said you weren't going to promote anyway. So honestly, I just think this is disrespectful to both parties, because not only does it make Tsunoda look like the second choice, and that makes him look like an idiot, it also destroys Lawson's career, because everyone will remember that one stint that he had at Red Bull, like how people remember Gasly's stint at Red Bull, but how people remember Albon's stint at Red Bull, and they'll just look at that and think, no, this guy's crap. It's really, really dumb. I really don't understand why they've done this. And they've done this with nearly every Red Bull driver to date, bar maybe Sainz. So I just don't understand it. I really don't understand why Red Bull have this mentality, why they think that they can create a Max Verstappen every single attempt when they fail to create one. Yes, Gasly 2021 was probably the best version of Gasly we've seen. 2024 near that, and they probably should have kept Gasly, but he is no Max Verstappen. Albon is no Max Verstappen. Yes, his P5 at Australia was great, but he is no Max Verstappen. Kvyat, no Max Verstappen. Obviously Kvyat was replaced by Max Verstappen, but I'm still just proving a point that they keep trying this like rapid young driver role, and they're still doing it, by the way. They're still doing it with Arvid Limlad in F2 now. He's what, 17? We're probably going to put him in the RB for next year, probably, most likely. If Hadjar doesn't perform, if Lawson doesn't perform, then he's definitely going in that seat. And they're going to keep trying this Max Verstappen regen, and I don't understand it. It's not working. It only worked once through circumstance. It's not going to work again. And this is what Christian Horner and Helmut Marko need to realize, that they can't keep just using like their whole driver program as the Max Verstappen test, because it's destroying drivers' careers. Yes, drivers choose to obviously be on the team, but and this is a very big but, you can't just like expect someone to say no. I'm sorry, you can't. If a Red Bull driver comes to you like, do you want to be on the team? Do you want to be like part of the Red Bull Driver Academy? You'll say yes, because you have very limited opportunities to get into F1, and like obviously you can't refuse that unless you have other options, which is very, 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 very rare. So what I don't understand is why they've done this. They keep attempting this one really lucky scenario. Yes, very, very lucky. But again, the car is falling off. No one but Max Verstappen can drive it, and they keep putting underdeveloped and inexperienced drivers in that car, which no one but Max Verstappen can drive. And honestly, it's a joke. It really is. It really is. It's as simple as that. I don't understand it. Many other people don't understand it, and I don't think many other people are going to understand it. The only one who does understand it is probably anyone who works at Red Bull, and I guarantee even they're thinking, even some of them are thinking, why has this happened? But such is life, man. such is life. Yeah, that was just my thoughts for today. Taking a quick walk to the gym, so I thought, might as well record a video whilst I'm at it. I hope you like this new style. I'm thinking of switching. I was just thinking of switching up my videos here and there because I remembered I have a GoPro. But yeah, that's probably it. Enough said. Red Bull needs to change their philosophy. Helmut Marko needs to retire. Christian Horner, I don't know, man. Christian Horner's probably the only decent, competent person there, but even then, he's made some very silly decisions. I could tell you that. But yeah, what do you guys think about Red Bull? Comment your thoughts down below. Honestly, I don't know. Red Bull look more and more finished. Honestly, as much as I like Max, he needs to leave the team. But yeah, comment your thoughts down below. My links will be in the description. Have a wonderful day. Don't be like Helmut Marko, and goodbye.